Tonight, as darkness wraps around your awareness like silk, something ancient within you begins to stir. Your consciousness floats between the world of form and the realm of infinite possibility, where your quantum self has been waiting patiently. For this moment of recognition, feel how the weight of the day slowly dissolves from your body. Your shoulders soften, your jaw unclenches. The tension you've been carrying, some of it yours, some of it inherited from generations before you, begins to melt like snow in spring sunlight. This is not just physical relaxation. This is your entire being remembering a deeper truth about who you really are. You are not just flesh and bone. You are not just thoughts and emotions. You are consciousness itself, temporarily wearing the costume of a human experience. And tonight, in this sacred space between waking and sleeping, the costume begins to loosen. The mask starts to slip. The real youth, the one who exists beyond name, beyond story, beyond all the identities you've collected like souvenirs, whispers, "I am here. I have always been here." Your breath becomes your guide now. Each inhale draws you deeper into this recognition. Each exhale releases another layer of who you thought you had to be. Breathe in possibility. Breathe out limitation. Breathe in your essence. Breathe out everything else. In quantum physics, there exists a phenomenon called the observer effect, the understanding that the very act of observing changes what is being observed. But tonight, you discover something even more profound. When you observe yourself with love, with curiosity, with gentle acceptance, you don't just change what you see, you change who you are. Notice how your awareness expands as you settle into this moment. The boundaries of your body seem less solid now. Where does your skin end and the air begin? Where does your consciousness stop and the universe start? These questions don't need answers. They need to be felt. Your nervous system, which has been on high alert for so long, finally receives the signal it's been waiting for. You are safe. Now you can rest. You can let go. The hypervigilance that once protected you transforms into a gentle alertness. Aware but not afraid. Present but not tense. Open but not vulnerable. Think of a tree in winter, bare branches reaching toward the sky. To the casual observer, it appears lifeless, dormant. But beneath the surface, in the roots and the core, life pulses with quiet intensity. Sap moves slowly through the trunk. Cells prepare for spring's resurrection. The tree knows something the observer cannot see. This apparent emptiness is actually fullness. This seeming death is actually gestation. You are that tree tonight. What appears to be rest is actually the most profound awakening. What feels like letting go is actually coming home. What seems like darkness is actually the fertile void from which your most authentic self emerges. Your thoughts begin to slow, like leaves settling on still water. Each mental wave grows gentler, wider, deeper. Instead of racing from one idea to the next, your mind starts to move like honey, thick, golden, deliberate. This is not confusion or drowsiness. This is clarity taking a different form. This is wisdom wearing the soft clothes of intuition rather than the sharp suit of logic. Feel how your heart rhythm shifts as you sink deeper into this state. No longer the quick staccato of anxiety or ambition, but the slow, steady drumbeat of someone who knows they belong exactly where they are. Your heart becomes a metronome, keeping time not for productivity, but for presence, not for doing, but for being. The quantum field around you shimmers with potential. Every possibility that has ever existed or ever could exist, and advances in the space just beyond your perception. Your future self, already living the reality you're moving toward, reaches across time and space to touch your current experience. Can you feel that gentle hand on your shoulder? Can you sense that loving presence saying, yes, you are exactly on time. Yes, you are exactly where you need to be. In the darkness behind your closed eyes, colors begin to swirl, deep purples and midnight blues, silver threads of starlight weaving through the cosmic tapestry of your inner landscape. These are not random patterns. These are the sacred geometries of your consciousness, reorganizing itself around a higher frequency of truth. Your breath deepens without effort. Your body settles without struggle. Your mind quiets without force. This is surrender, but not defeat. This is rest, but not escape. This is the gentle awakening of your quantum nature. The part of you that has always known you are more than the sum of your experiences. More than the collection of your wounds, more than the story you've been telling yourself about who you are and what you deserve. Tonight, the boundaries of who you thought you were start to soften, like ice melting into the ocean of your true nature. And in this melting, in this softening, in this gentle dissolution of everything that was never really you anyway, something magnificent begins to emerge. What is it that wants to be born from the depth of your being as you drift toward dreams? Your breath moves through your chest like a gentle tide returning to shore, and as you settle deeper into this sacred space between day and night, you begin to feel something stirring, a recognition so tender it almost brings tears to your closed eyes. There is a beautiful sadness in this moment. A holy grief for the song you have been singing that was never truly yours. Feel your heartbeat against your ribs, steady and true, while around it your nervous system hums with frequencies collected over lifetimes. Like a violin string pulled too tight, your body has been vibrating to melodies of worry, harmonizing with choruses of doubt, keeping time to rhythms of survival that your great-grandmother's great-grandmother once danced to in her own desperate moments. Your shoulders carry the weight of inherited patterns like invisible sheet, music written in a language you never learned to read. Each tension, each knot of holding, each place where your muscles refuse to soften, these are the notes of a symphony that began long before you took your first breath. Your nervous system, so wise and so weary, has been the faithful orchestra conductor, keeping perfect time to songs of struggle passed down through bloodlines like precious, painful heirlooms. Breathe deeper now and feel how your chest expands against the accumulated weight of collected wounds. The anxiety that lives in your solar plexus like a clenched fist, this is not entirely yours. The way your jaw tightens when you feel threatened, this protective response learned itself in the bones of ancestors who faced dangers you will never know. The quickening of your pulse when someone raises their voice, this alarm system calibrated itself to frequencies of fear that echo through generations. There is no shame in this recognition, dear one. Your body has been the most loyal witness, holding space for every unexpressed scream, every swallowed tear, every moment when love felt too dangerous to accept. Your nervous system became the keeper of stories that had no other place to live, the guardian of traumas that needed a safe harbor, while they waited for someone brave enough to feel them fully and let them go. Feel how this understanding creates a shift in the very air around you. The dissonance that has been playing through your cells begins to soften as you meet it with compassion instead of resistance. Your breath becomes a bridge between the frequency you have been carrying and the frequency you came here to embody. Each exhale releases old notes that never belonged to your soul's true song. Each inhale draws you closer to your authentic vibration. Your heart knows its own rhythm, has always known, even when it learned to beat in time with others' expectations. Beneath the layers of learned responses, inherited fears, and adaptive strategies lies the pure tone of your essence, clear, unwavering, absolutely unique. This is the frequency that exists beyond the reach of trauma, beyond the influence of ancestral patterns, beyond the distortion of a world that taught you to sing smaller than your truth. The pain you have carried, the misalignment you have lived, the dissonance between who you are and who you learned to be. All of this has been preparing you for this moment of recognition. How else would you know the relief of coming home to yourself if you had never wandered so far from your center? How else would you recognize the pure gold of your authentic frequency if you had never felt the weight of borrowed melodies? Your nervous system begins to remember what regulation feels like. Not the hypervigilance that scanned for danger in every silence. Not the numbing that protected you from feeling too much. But the sweet settledness of a system that trusts its environment, trusts its capacity to respond rather than react, trusts the fundamental safety of being exactly who you are. Feel how the quantum field around your resting form begins to shimmer with new possibilities. The quantum shift is not something you must force or manufacture, it is something you allow, something you recognize, something you remember. It is the natural result of a nervous system that finally feels safe enough to stop playing other people's songs and begin humming the melody that has been waiting patiently in the chambers of your heart. Your body holds this wisdom like buried treasure. Every cell remembers the blueprint of your original frequency. Every organ knows the rhythm of your soul's true song. Every breath is an opportunity to tune yourself back to the vibration you carried before you learned to harmonize with fear, before you developed the beautiful, exhausting skill of belonging at the cost of being yourself. The inherited patterns that live in your muscles, your posture, your automatic responses, these are not permanent fixtures. They are simply emotional data, stored information about how your lineage learned to survive. And now, as you breathe into this space of gentle awareness, you give your nervous system permission to begin a new conversation with reality. Your spine softens against whatever supports it, releasing the rigid vigilance that kept you upright in a world that felt unstable. Your jaw unclenches, letting go of words you swallowed, truths you held back, songs you kept silent. Your shoulders drop away from your ears, no longer carrying the weight of everyone else's unprocessed emotions. This is the holy work of return, not the dramatic transformation promised by wellness culture, but the quiet, profound shift of a nervous system that finally feels permission to exist in its natural state. The symphony of misalignment begins to dissolve as you remember that you are not here to perfect someone else's melody, but to discover and share the unique song that only you can sing. Your breathing becomes deeper, more natural, as if your lungs are remembering how to receive life without apology. The vibrational frequency of your authentic self begins to emerge like dawn breaking through a long night. It is not loud or demanding, it is gentle, consistent, absolutely unmistakable to those who have learned to listen for truth beneath the noise of survival. Feel how this recognition ripples through every cell, every neural pathway, every memory, stored in the wise archives of your body. The pain you have carried transforms from burden into teacher. The misalignment you have lived becomes the very contrast that allows you to recognize alignment when it emerges. The dissonance dissolves into the space from which your true song can finally be heard. Your nervous system begins to hum with new information that safety is possible, that authenticity is sustainable, that you are allowed to take up the exact amount of space your soul requires. The inherited fears that once felt so solid begin to dissolve like sugar in warm water, leaving behind the pure essence of your being as sleep draws closer. Your body settles into this new frequency like coming home after a long journey. The symphony of misalignment fades into memory while your authentic vibration grows stronger, clearer, more confident with each breath. You are not broken. You were never broken. You were simply playing a song that was never meant to be yours. What would it feel like to wake tomorrow already humming your soul's true melody? Your breath moves like gentle waves against the shore of consciousness, and in this moment, you begin to notice something beautiful unfolding within you. Your mind, that tender guardian of your heart, starts to whisper its familiar stories woven from threads of protection, safety, and the deep knowing that change can feel dangerous. To the soul that has learned to survive in smaller spaces, feel how your energy field responds to this inner conversation. There's a subtle trembling, like leaves before a storm, as two versions of yourself meet in the quantum space of your awareness. One version knows the comfort of familiar patterns, the safety of well-worn paths, the predictable rhythm of who you have always been. The other version pulses with possibility, vibrating at frequencies that your logical mind cannot yet understand, calling you toward territories unmapped by your previous experience. Your nervous system recognizes this threshold moment. It's the same recognition that happens when you stand at the edge of a cliff, looking out at an endless sky, part terror, part exhilaration, all transformation. Your body holds the memory of every time change felt unsafe, every moment when expanding beyond your known self meant stepping into vulnerability. These memories live in your tissues, in the curve of your shoulders, in the depth of your breathing. Notice how your mind begins to craft its protective stories now. This is too much, too fast, it whispers. What if you lose yourself in this becoming? What if the people who know you can't recognize this new version of your truth? These thoughts aren't obstacles there. Love letters from the part of you that has kept you safe through every storm you've weathered. Your resistance patterns flow like ancient rivers through your consciousness. Each doubt, each moment of hesitation, each internal voice that questions your worthiness to transform. These are not enemies to defeat, but sacred guardians to honor. They rise from the deepest wells of your survival wisdom, from the cellular knowing that change, throughout human history, has often meant danger. Feel the texture of this resistance in your body now. Perhaps it lives in your chest as a gentle tightening, or in your throat as words you cannot yet speak, or in your belly as butterflies that dance with uncertainty. This is the observer effect expressing itself through your human form. Your consciousness collapsing old wave patterns of identity while simultaneously creating space for new possibilities to emerge. Your energy field holds both frequencies now, the familiar resonance of who you have been and the quantum potential of who you are becoming. Like two radio stations playing simultaneously, your system attempts to make sense of these overlapping vibrations. Your logical mind, trained in the linear world of cause and effect, struggles to comprehend this simultaneous existence of multiple self-expressions. Breathe into this complexity with tenderness. Your nervous system is learning a new language, the language of expansion without abandonment, growth without loss, transformation without erasure. Each breath you take becomes a bridge between timelines, allowing your past self and your emerging self to coexist in the sacred space of your heart. The stories your mind tells now are stories of transition, maybe tomorrow, it suggests. Maybe when you're stronger, wiser, more prepared. These postponement patterns are your psyche's way of buying time, creating buffer zones where change can happen gradually, safely, without overwhelming your delicate human system. Honor this wisdom while also recognizing its limitations. Your mind, beautiful and protective as it is, operates from information gathered in your past. It cannot see the quantum field of possibilities that awaits you because it exists outside the realm of logic, beyond the borders of what your previous experience can confirm as safe or possible. Feel how your body begins to soften now, even in the presence of resistance. Your cells remember that they have survived every transformation you have ever undergone, childhood to adolescence, innocence to wisdom, heartbreak to healing. Your DNA carries the memory of billions of years of successful adaptation, of creatures who learned to breathe underwater and then discovered they could also fly. Your resistance is not a wall, but a membrane, permeable, intelligent, designed to allow what serves you to enter while filtering out what does not. Trust this natural intelligence. Your system knows the difference between growth that honors your authentic nature and change that asks you to abandon your truth in the quantum space of your awareness. Multiple versions of yourself exist simultaneously. The version that fears change and the version that embraces it. The self that contracts and the self that expands. The identity that holds tight and the essence that flows freely. You are not choosing between these aspects. You are learning to conduct them like a symphony, allowing each voice its moment while maintaining the harmony of your whole being. Your nervous system begins to recognize this new rhythm now. The fight or flight response that once activated at the first sign of change starts to settle into a more nuanced dance. Your body learns that transformation can happen without trauma, that evolution can unfold without emergency, that becoming who you truly are is not a crisis but a homecoming. Notice how your energy field expands and contracts like breath itself. This is not inconsistency. This is intelligence. Your system is learning to pulse with the rhythm of growth, to honor both the need for expansion and the wisdom of integration, to dance between reaching toward new possibilities and rooting into the solid ground of your authentic core. The observer effect operates through your consciousness now as you witness these patterns without judgment. Your awareness becomes the gentle space where resistance and acceptance can coexist, where fear and excitement can dance together, where your protective mind and your expanding heart can find their natural harmony. Your breath deepens as you recognize that resistance itself is a form of sacred engagement. Only what matters to your soul creates this kind of internal activation. Indifference doesn't generate the electrical charge that you feel in your body when you contemplate becoming more truly yourself. This charge, this aliveness, this creative tension, these are signs that you are approaching something real, something that your deepest self recognizes as important. Feel how your energy begins to settle now, like sediment finding its natural layer in clear water. The turbulence of internal conflict gives way to a deeper current, one that flows beneath the surface stories, beneath the protective patterns, beneath even the resistance itself. This current carries the truth of who you are becoming. Your cells pulse with this deeper knowledge now. They remember that resistance and transformation are not opposites but dance partners, each one making the other more beautiful, more meaningful, more complete. Without the sacred no of your protective mind, the yes of your expanding heart would have no definition, no boundaries, no form through which to express its infinite nature. As you settle into this deeper understanding, your entire system begins to relax into a new possibility that can honor your resistance while still allowing transformation, that you can feel fear while still moving toward growth, that the most profound changes often happen not through force but through this tender, patient, loving negotiation between all the parts of yourself. Your breath becomes the bridge now, carrying you across the threshold between old and new, between known and unknown, between who you have been and who you are becoming. Each exhale releases what no longer serves. Each inhale invites in what your soul recognizes as home. In this space of sacred surrender, what truth about your resistance wants to be acknowledged before you drift into dreams? Your breath moves like gentle waves across the quantum ocean of your being. And in this sacred space between waking and sleeping, you begin to sense something profound. All around you, floating like luminous threads in the darkness behind your closed eyes, are the countless versions of yourself that have ever existed, that could exist, that want to exist. Feel your chest rise and fall, each breath a bridge between worlds. In this moment, you are not just the you who went to bed tonight. You are the child who dreamed without limits, the teenager who felt everything so deeply, the adult who learned to build walls, and the wise soul who is ready to let them fall. All of these selves exist simultaneously in the field of infinite possibility that surrounds your sleeping form. Your nervous system, which has carried so much throughout your journey, begins to soften into this understanding. The tight grip of old stories loosens with each exhale. The fear that whispered you cannot change starts to dissolve like morning mist. Your body remembers what your mind sometimes forgets, that you are not fixed in stone, but fluid like water, always capable of finding new shapes, new directions, new ways of being. In quantum physics, particles exist in superposition until they are observed. They hold all possibilities at once, spinning in a dance of potential until the moment consciousness turns its gentle attention toward them. Tonight, you are both the observer and the observed, the one who watches and the one who chooses which reality to call into form. Breathe deeper now, and feel how your awareness acts like a soft spotlight in the theater of your inner world. Where you place this loving attention, reality responds. The timeline where you remain small and afraid begins to fade. The timeline where you punished yourself for past mistakes grows dim. But the timeline where you are whole, where you are worthy, where you are exactly who you came here to be, this one grows brighter with each conscious breath. Your heartbeat becomes a rhythm that calls your truest self home. Feel how this version of you, the one who has healed the wounds, who has learned to love what was broken, who has found peace in the imperfection, feel how this self reaches across the space between possibilities, drawn by the magnetic pull of your sincere longing to be authentic. The observer effect is not just a principle of physics. It is the sacred power you carry within. When you witness your thoughts without judgment, when you feel your emotions without resistance, when you notice your patterns without shame, you create the conditions for quantum collapse. The many becomes one. The possible becomes actual. The dream becomes your living reality. Your breath creates quantum entanglement between who you have been and who you are becoming. Each inhale draws golden threads of connection to your highest expression. Each exhale releases the energetic residue of timelines that no longer serve your growth. You are not abandoning your past. You are integrating its lessons while choosing a different future. Feel your nervous system settling deeper into trust. The hypervigilance that once protected you can finally rest. The anxiety that scanned for danger in every possibility can finally soften. Your body begins to remember its natural state, not the tension of survival, but the ease of thriving, not the frequency of fear, but the vibration of love. In this quantum field of your sleeping consciousness, you become aware of how your emotional frequency acts like a tuning fork, calling similar energies into your experience. The timelines where you vibrated with worry attracted circumstances that confirmed your fears. But now, as you breathe into this space of peaceful possibility, you begin to emit a different signal entirely. Your heart opens like a flower to the timeline where you trust yourself completely. Your mind releases its grip on the timeline where you needed others' approval to feel worthy. Your soul recognizes the timeline where you stopped apologizing for taking up space, where you stopped shrinking to make others comfortable, where you stepped fully into the light of your own magnificence. That quantum shift happens not through force, but through allowance, not through striving, but through surrendering. As you lie here in the gentle darkness, you become the loving witness to your own transformation. You watch with compassion as the old patterns dissolve. You observe with wonder as new possibilities crystallize from the field of pure potential. Your sleeping mind is the perfect laboratory for this sacred work. Here, the logical mind that says impossible grows quiet. Here, the inner critic that whispers not worthy falls asleep. Here, in the space between thoughts, between heartbeats, between the inhale and exhale, miracles become as natural as breathing. Feel how the timeline of your choosing begins to solidify around you like gentle light becoming form. This is the reality where your nervous system is calm and resilient, where your heart is open but protected, where your mind is clear but flexible, where your spirit is grounded in the unshakable knowing of your inherent worth. The quantum events that will support this new timeline are already arranging themselves in the invisible realm. The synchronicities that will confirm your shift, the opportunities that will match your new frequency, the relationships that will mirror your healed heart. All of this is being woven together by the intelligence of love that responds to your conscious choice. Your breath becomes the carrier wave for this new reality. With each gentle cycle, you are broadcasting your truth into the quantum field. You are no longer the victim of circumstances, but the conscious creator of your experience. You are no longer trapped in patterns of the past, but free to choose your response to each moment. As sleep begins to embrace you more fully, know that this process continues in the depths of your unconscious mind. Your dreaming awareness will continue to collapse the timelines that no longer serve while strengthening the neural pathways that support your highest expression. Your body will repair itself according to this new blueprint of wholeness. Your energy field will align with the frequency of your chosen reality. Tonight, you rest in the profound peace of knowing that you are not stuck, you are not broken, you are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be, experiencing the perfect conditions for your next level of growth and expansion. The observer within you, wise, loving, eternally present, continues to choose love over fear, truth over illusion, possibility over limitation. What would it feel like to wake tomorrow already living from this new timeline, already embodying this healed version of yourself? Your nervous system, having carried the weight of survival for so long, finally receives permission to rest. Feel how this message travels through your body like warm honey through a honeycomb's glow, sweet, penetrating every cell with the radical truth that you are safe now. You are home now. You can let go now. For years, perhaps decades, your nervous system has been like a sentinel standing guard at the gates of your heart, always watching, always ready, always prepared for the next threat, the next disappointment, the next moment when you might need to fight, flee, or freeze to survive. But tonight, in the soft darkness of this sacred space, the sentinel finally lays down its weapons and whispers, "The war is over." Notice how your shoulders begin to melt away from your ears. Feel how your jaw unclenches without effort. Watch as your breath deepens, not because you're trying to breathe deeply, but because your body is finally exhaling years of held tension. This is what surrender looks like, not collapse, but the most natural thing in the world, like a river that has been dammed for years, suddenly finding its natural flow. Your energy begins to move in patterns of ease rather than emergency. Your sympathetic nervous system, which has been running the show with its endless cycles of stress and vigilance, begins to step back. And in that stepping back, something beautiful emerges. Your parasympathetic nervous system, the wise, ancient part of you that knows how to heal, how to restore, how to regenerate. This is your body's built-in pharmacy, releasing exactly the neurochemicals you need for deep repair and transformation. Think of your nervous system like a symphony orchestra that has been playing in minor keys for far too long. Each instrument here, heart, your lungs, your digestive system, your immune response has been playing the same song of survival, the same melody of protection. But now, as your body settles into this state of profound safety, the conductor raises her baton and everything shifts. The music doesn't stop, it transforms. The minor keys resolve into major. The sharp, staccato notes of anxiety become the long, flowing passages of peace. Can you feel it happening? The trapped emotions stored in your cells start to release like morning mist evaporating in sunlight. That knot in your stomach that has been your companion for months begins to soften. The tension across your chest that made every breath feel like work starts to dissolve. The headache that lived at the base of your skull like an unwelcome tenant finally packs its bags and moves out. These sensations are not random. They are your body's innate intelligence, recognizing that the coast is clear, that the danger has passed, that it's finally safe to feel what has been waiting to be felt. Each release is a small miracle, your cells literally reorganizing themselves around this new frequency of safety. This quantum shift from survival mode to thrival mode, your vagus nerve, that magnificent highway of communication between your brain and your body, begins to hum with a different vibration. Instead of carrying messages of alarm and urgency, it now transmits signals of calm and connection. All is well, it whispers to your heart. You can slow down now, it murmurs to your racing thoughts. It's safe to feel, it assures you're guarded. Emotions don't notice how your heart rate variability begins to shift. Instead of the rigid, mechanical beating of a system under stress, your heart starts to beat with the organic rhythm of someone who is truly at peace. This is coherence, the magical state where your heart, mind, and nervous system synchronize in perfect harmony, creating a field of energy around you that attracts experiences matching this new internal frequency. Your breath becomes your teacher. Now, each inhale draws in not just oxygen, but life force itself. Each exhale releases not just carbon dioxide, but years of accumulated stress, inherited trauma, and survival programming that was never yours to carry. Breathe in restoration, breathe out depletion, breathe in safety, breathe out hypervigilance, breathe in your birthright of peace. Feel how your digestive system begins to relax and function properly for perhaps the first time in years. The chronic tension in your gut, that second brain that holds so much emotional intelligence, starts to unwind. Your immune system, no longer compromised by chronic stress hormones, begins to strengthen and restore itself. Your endocrine system finds its natural rhythm again, releasing hormones of healing rather than chemicals of crisis. This is what your body remembers when given permission: its innate wisdom, its capacity for self-regulation, its birthright of peace. You were born with this ability. It was never lost, only temporarily overshadowed by the accumulated responses to a world that taught you that safety was rare, and peace was a luxury you couldn't afford. But your body knows better. Your cells remember better. Your nervous system, in its infinite wisdom, has been waiting for this moment when it could finally exhale completely, when it could trust that you would no longer ask it to carry what was never yours to bear, when it could return to its original function, not just keeping you alive, but helping you thrive. As you sink deeper into this state of nervous system regulation, feel how every system in your body begins to communicate more clearly with every other system. Your brain releases the neurochemicals of contentment. Your heart generates the electromagnetic frequency of love. Your cells vibrate with the quantum signature of someone who knows, beyond doubt, that they are exactly where they need to be. The old patterns of reactivity, those automatic responses that once served to protect you, begin to dissolve like sugar in warm water. In their place, new neural pathways form. Pathways of peace, pathways of presence, pathways of possibility. Your nervous system is literally rewiring itself around this new reality, creating the biological foundation for the person you are becoming. Can you feel how your very cells are reorganizing themselves around this new frequency of safety? This is not just relaxation. This is revolution. This is your nervous system finally remembering what it feels like to be held by life, instead of braced against it. What does your body want to whisper to you in this moment of perfect safety? Your breath moves like silk through the chambers of your heart, and in this moment of perfect stillness, something extraordinary begins to unfold. There is a presence stirring in the quantum field around you, a familiar yet transformed energy that pulses with the rhythm of your own becoming. This is your future self, already living in the reality you are moving toward, existing in a state of beautiful completion that your current mind can barely imagine, yet your soul recognizes as home. Feel how the space between your thoughts expands now, creating room for this sacred connection to strengthen. Your future self exists not in some distant timeline, but in the eternal now, woven into the fabric of your present moment through invisible threads of possibility. These threads shimmer like starlight through your energy field, carrying whispers of wisdom, frequencies of fulfillment, and the gentle assurance that who you are becoming is already real in dimensions beyond your current perception. Your nervous system begins to attune to this higher frequency now. Like a radio slowly finding its signal, your body starts to resonate with vibrations that feel both foreign and familiar. Foreign, because they represent growth you haven't yet embodied. Familiar, because they carry the signature of your authentic essence, finally free to express itself fully. This is quantum entanglement operating through consciousness itself, connecting present and future versions of your being across the seeming barriers of time and space. Notice how your heart rate begins to synchronize with something larger than itself. Your future self lives in a state of profound coherence, their thoughts, emotions, and actions flowing together like notes in a perfect symphony. This coherence creates a gravitational pull that your current self can feel even now, a gentle invitation to step into alignment with your highest potential. Your breath deepens as you sense the texture of this future reality, Your evolved self moves through their world with a quality of presence that transforms everything they touch. They speak words that carry the weight of lived wisdom, make decisions from a center of unshakable self-trust, and radiate an energy that helps others remember their own magnificence. This version of you has learned to live from the inside out, to trust the intelligence of their intuition, to embody the frequency of their deepest dreams. Feel how your energy field begins to shift now, subtle at first, like the changing of light. At dawn, your cells start to remember patterns of vibration that seem to come from nowhere yet feel like coming home. This is your future self sharing their energetic blueprint with you across the quantum field, offering your present moment the gift of their embodied wisdom. Your future self sits in rooms where they belong, speaks truths that matter, creates beauty that transforms the world in ways both seen and unseen. They have learned to receive love without armor, to give generously without depletion, to stand in their power without apology. Most beautifully, they have discovered that their authentic expression is not a performance for others, but a sacred offering to life itself. Notice how your breathing naturally slows as you attune to their rhythm. Your future self breathes from a place of deep trust in the intelligence of existence. They have released the need to control outcomes and instead learned to collaborate with the natural flow of creation. Their nervous system operates from a baseline of safety, expansion, and curiosity rather than contraction, protection, and fear. In the quantum space of your awareness, you begin to feel the threads of connection growing stronger. These threads carry more than hope or imagination, they carry actual information, cellular memories of experiences your future self has already lived. Your DNA starts to resonate with patterns of activation that correspond to their embodied reality. Your energy field beginning to pulse with frequencies that match their achieved state of being. Your future self has learned to love the parts of themselves that your current mind still judges. They have integrated their shadows, honored their wounds as teachers, and transformed their pain into medicine, not just for themselves, but for everyone whose life they touch. This integration creates a wholeness that radiates outward, affecting their environment in ways that seem magical, but are simply the natural result of a human being living in complete alignment with their truth. Feel how your body begins to soften into this knowing. Your future self exists in a reality where their work is play, their relationships are sanctuaries of mutual growth, and their daily life feels like a continuous prayer of gratitude for the privilege of being alive in a human form. They have discovered that abundance is not something they achieve, but something they embody, not something they attract, but something they become. The observer effect operates through your consciousness. Now, as you witness these possibilities without grasping, your future self sends ripples of coherence backward through time, and your present awareness receives these ripples as sudden knowings, as moments of clarity that feel like remembering rather than learning. You begin to understand that transformation is not about becoming someone new, but about removing the obstacles to expressing who you have always been. Your energy field expands as you feel into their daily reality. Your future self wakes each morning with a sense of anticipation for what the day will reveal. They have learned to read the subtle languages of synchronicity, to trust the intelligence of their desires, to follow the thread of their excitement. As a compass toward their highest expression, their life has become a continuous conversation between their soul and the universe. Notice how your heart space opens now, making room for frequencies of joy that your current self might find almost overwhelming. Your future self has learned to let I have remembered how to find the perfection that already exists within the imperfection of being human. In this state of quantum entanglement with your future self, you begin to feel how thin the membrane really is between who you are now and who you are becoming. Your future self reaches across dimensions to remind you that every choice you make, every thought you think, every moment you choose love over fear creates the bridge between your realities. Your cells pulse with recognition. Now, as you feel your future self's energy flowing through your present form, they exist in a state of profound self-compassion, treating themselves with the same tenderness they would offer to a beloved friend. This self-compassion has become the foundation of their power, the source of their creativity, the wellspring of their capacity to serve the world from a place of overflow rather than depletion. Feel how your nervous system begins to remember this state of being. Your future self operates from what scientists call coherent heart rhythms, their heart, mind, and emotions synchronized in ways that optimize both their health and their ability to positively influence their environment. This coherence creates a field effect that helps others access their own highest possibilities simply through proximity. Your future self has learned to trust the timing of their unfolding. They understand that every seeming delay was actually perfect preparation. Every apparent setback was actually redirection towards something better. Every moment of struggle was actually the universe strengthening them for the joy that was coming. This perspective has transformed their relationship with uncertainty from anxiety into adventure. As your breathing naturally settles into this deeper rhythm, you begin to sense that your future self is not separate from you, but is you. That exists when all the layers of protection, all the stories of limitation, all the beliefs about what is possible have been gently loved away. They are your essence unobstructed, your light unfiltered, your love UNDEFENDED. Your energy field pulses now with the recognition that this future reality is not something you must earn or achieve, but something you can choose to align with. In this very moment, your future self whispers across time that the gap between where you are and where you are going exists only in the stories your mind tells about separation. In the quantum field of infinite possibility, all versions of yourself exist simultaneously. Feel how your entire system begins to relax into this deeper truth now. Your future self exists in a reality where they trust themselves completely, love themselves unconditionally, and express themselves authentically. This trust, this love, this authenticity creates a frequency that transforms not only their own experience, but ripples out to heal the world in ways both subtle and profound. Your breath becomes the bridge now between these realities. Each inhale, drawing in the frequency of your highest potential, each exhale releasing any resistance to embodying this truth. In the sacred space between heartbeats, you feel the quantum threads of connection pulsing with the light of your shared essence as you settle into sleep. Your future self continues to broadcast their frequency of wholeness, sending love backward through time to the beautiful soul who is brave enough to dream them into existence. What gift does your future self want to offer your sleeping consciousness tonight? You are no longer merely experiencing your thoughts and emotions, you are the conscious space in which they arise and dissolve. This shift is so subtle, so profound, that it might take a moment to recognize what has occurred. You have stepped back from the theater of your mind and taken your seat as the witness, the one who watches without being consumed, the one who observes without being overtaken. Feel this transition happening now. It's like stepping out of a rushing river and onto the bank, suddenly able to see the waters flow with perfect clarity. The thoughts that once carried you downstream, worries about tomorrow, regrets about yesterday, judgments about today, to move through your awareness, but they no longer sweep you away. You have found your footing in the timeless space of pure observation. Like clouds passing through an infinite sky, your old patterns float through your awareness without taking root. There goes the familiar voice that says you're not enough. There drifts the ancient fear of abandonment. There passes the inherited belief that life is struggle. You see them all with the gentle compassion of someone watching weather from inside a warm house. Interesting, temporary. Not you, this observer self. This witnessing presence holds the ultimate authority in your inner world. Not the authority of a tyrant who demands control, but the quiet authority of someone who simply knows their true nature. You are not your thoughts. You are the space in which thoughts appear. You are not your emotions. You are the loving awareness that holds every feeling with perfect acceptance. You are not your body. You are the consciousness that inhabits this beautiful form temporarily. From this expanded perspective, something remarkable becomes clear. You see how your attention has been the hidden architect of your reality. Every experience you've ever had was shaped by where you chose to place your conscious focus. The observer effect, that mysterious quantum principle, reveals itself not as abstract science, but as the most intimate truth of your existence. What you observe with sustained attention becomes real in your experience. For so long, your attention has been like a flashlight with a dying battery, flickering erratically from fear to worry to doubt. But tonight, as you rest in this observer consciousness, your attention becomes like sunlight, steady, warm, illuminating everything it touches with gentle clarity. And just as plants naturally grow toward the light, your reality begins to organize itself around this new quality of attention. Notice how different it feels to observe a thought rather than think it. When anxiety arises, instead of becoming anxious, you simply notice, anxiety is here. When sadness appears, instead of drowning in it, you gently acknowledge, I see you, sadness. You are welcome here. When joy bubbles up, instead of grasping for it, you smile and whisper, thank you for visiting. This is the quantum shift from identification to witnessing, from reaction to response, from being pushed around by your inner weather to becoming the vast sky that holds it all. Your thoughts and emotions don't disappear. They simply lose their power to define you, to limit you, to convince you that their temporary presence is your permanent truth. Feel how this observer awareness expands with each breath. It's as if you're zooming out on the camera of your consciousness, revealing more and more of the infinite space that you truly are. The problems that seemed so large from up close now appear in their proper proportion, waves in an ocean, clouds in a sky, temporary experiences in an eternal awareness. Your nervous system responds to this shift with profound relief, no longer needing to defend against every mental and emotional visitor. It settles into the deep peace of someone who knows they are untouchable at their core. The chronic tension of trying to control your inner experience dissolves into the natural ease of someone who has remembered their true nature as the unshakable witness. This witnessing presence has always been there, you realize. It was there when you were 5 years old, watching the world with wonder. It was there during your greatest heartbreak, holding you in love even when you couldn't feel it. It was there in your moments of triumph, celebrating without attachment. It has been the one constant through every season of your life. The unchanging awareness in which all change occurs. From this observer consciousness, you begin to see the patterns that have shaped your reality, the stories you've told yourself about who you are and what you deserve, the beliefs you inherited from family, culture, and circumstance. The identities you've worn like clothes, mistaking them for your skin. All of it appears now as fascinating but temporary phenomena arising in the vast space of your true self. And in this seeing, in this gentle witnessing without judgment, transformation begins to occur naturally, not through forcing change, but through the loving attention that allows what wants to emerge to unfold organically. The old patterns, seen clearly for what they are, just patterns, not truth, begin to lose their gravitational pull on your consciousness. Your attention becomes like a gardener's hands, naturally tending to what you want to grow. Where once you unconsciously watered the weeds of self-doubt and limitation with your focus, now you find yourself naturally drawn to the seeds of possibility, creativity, and love, not through effort, but through the organic intelligence of consciousness recognizing itself. Feel how this observer awareness extends beyond your individual experience. You are not separate from the field of consciousness that permeates everything. You are a unique expression of the same awareness that moves the stars, grows the flowers, and beats your heart. Your individual witnessing is the universe witnessing itself through your particular perspective. This recognition brings with it a profound sense of responsibility, the heavy burden of trying to control outcomes, but the joyful responsibility of consciously choosing where to place your attention, knowing that this choice ripples out into the quantum field and shapes not only your personal reality but contributes to the collective awakening of consciousness itself. From this expanded awareness, you can see how every moment offers you the choice. Will you identify with the temporary phenomena arising in consciousness, or will you rest as consciousness itself? Will you be swept away by the drama of thoughts and emotions, or will you remain centered in the peace of pure witnessing? Will you use your attention unconsciously, or will you wield it as the creative force it truly is? The beauty is that there's no wrong choice. Even when you forget and get caught up in the story, even when you identify with the waves instead of the ocean, the observer is still there, patiently, waiting, always ready to welcome you home to your true nature with the gentlest smile and the most loving embrace. As you rest in this observer consciousness, feel how your entire energy field reorganizes itself around this new center of gravity. Instead of being pulled in 1,000 directions by every thought and feeling, you become like a mountain, solid, stable, unmovable at your core, while allowing all weather to pass through your awareness without resistance. What new creation wants to emerge when you observe from love rather than fear, from spaciousness rather than contraction, from trust rather than control? Your breath moves through your body like a gentle river, carrying sacred messages from the depths of your being. And as you settle into the softness of this moment, you begin to sense the profound intelligence that lives within every emotion you have ever felt. What once seemed like chaotic storms to be weathered now reveals itself as pure wisdom seeking recognition. Energy in motion, carrying exactly the medicine your soul has been waiting to receive. Feel your heart beating steadily. In your chest, this faithful drum that has witnessed every feeling you have ever experienced. Your emotions have never been your enemies, dear one. They have been your teachers, your guides, your most intimate companions on this journey of becoming human. Each sensation that has moved through your emotional landscape carries within it a quantum frequency, a specific vibration holding information about your growth, your healing, your evolution into wholeness. Your nervous system, so beautifully calibrated to the subtle energies that flow through you, begins to relax as you recognize this truth. The fear that once felt like a wild animal in your chest This was excitement disguised, life force asking you to pay attention to what mattered most. The anger that burned hot in your belly, this was passion in its raw form, your soul's fierce love for justice and truth demanding to be heard. Breathe deeper now, and feel how your exhale creates space for whatever emotion wants to surface in this sacred darkness. There is no need to push anything away, no need to grasp or cling. Your breath becomes the alchemical fire that transforms all feelings back into their original essence, pure energy, pure information, pure love, wearing different costumes to teach you different lessons about being alive. Your body holds the memory of every unexpressed emotion, every feeling you learned was too dangerous to feel fully. The sadness that settled in your shoulders, like heavy snow, this was compassion waiting to be born. Your heart's tender response to the beauty and fragility of existence. The anxiety that lived in your throat like a trapped bird, this was intuition trying to guide you. Sensitivity seeking acknowledgement in a world that often felt too loud, too harsh, too disconnected from the gentle rhythms of your soul. Feel how your emotional field begins to reorganize itself around the magnetic pull of your authentic nature. The emotions that once scattered your energy like leaves in a storm now move with purpose, with direction, with the elegant intelligence of a system that knows how to heal itself when given the right conditions. Your breath creates these conditions: space, acceptance, curiosity instead of judgment. The quantum frequency of each emotion carries its own medicine. Fear transforms naturally into excitement when met with breath and awareness. The rapid heartbeat, the heightened alertness, the surge of energy, these sensations remain the same. But their meaning shifts from danger to possibility, from threat to adventure. Your nervous system learns to interpret the same physical sensations through the lens of curiosity rather than alarm. Your anger, when breathed with instead of breathed against, reveals its hidden gift. This fiery energy that once felt destructive becomes the fuel for your most creative expressions, your most passionate pursuits, your most courageous stands for what you believe in. The heat that once burned you begins to warm you, to energize you, to remind you of the powerful life force that flows through your veins. Feel your chest expanding as you breathe with the medicine of sadness. This emotion, so often feared and pushed away, carries within it the capacity for profound compassion. When you allow tears to flow like rain on fertile soil, something new grows in the places that felt barren. Your heart expands, your empathy deepens. Your ability to hold space for others' pain increases exponentially. Because you've learned to hold space for your own, your breath becomes frequency medicine. Each inhale drawing you closer to emotional integration, each exhale releasing the stories that kept your feelings trapped in loops of resistance. The quantum field around your resting form shimmers with new possibilities as your emotional intelligence awakens more fully. You begin to recognize emotions not as problems to be solved, but as energy to be partnered with, information to be received, frequency to be integrated. The emotional alchemy happening within your sleeping form is gentle but profound. Your nervous system learns to stay present with sensation instead of immediately categorizing it as good or bad, wanted or unwanted. This presence becomes the crucible in which transformation occurs naturally, effortlessly, as inevitable as water finding its own level. Your heart opens like a flower to the understanding that you are not at the mercy of your emotions. You are in sacred partnership with them. They arise to serve your growth, to guide your choices, to inform your understanding of what brings you alive and what drains your life force. When met with the medicine of conscious breathing, even the most challenging emotions reveal their gifts. The frequency of joy begins to stabilize in your system as you recognize it not as something you must chase or earn, but as your natural state when obstacles are removed. Joy is what remains when fear is breathed through, when anger is honored for its passion, when sadness is welcomed for its depth. It is the frequency that emerges when you stop fighting the fullness of your humanity and start celebrating it. Your emotional field becomes a garden where all feelings are welcomed as necessary seasons. The storms bring needed rain. The sunny days allow for growth. The seasons of rest prepare the soil for new life. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is wrong. Everything serves the greater intelligence of your becoming. Feel how this understanding ripples through every cell of your being. The places in your body that held emotional tension begin to soften. Your jaw releases the words you were afraid to speak. Your shoulders drop the weight of feelings you carried for others. Your heart expands beyond the protective walls you built. When emotions felt too dangerous to feel fully, your breathing naturally deepens as your system recognizes safety in feeling. The hypervigilance that once scanned for emotional threats relaxes into the knowing that you have the capacity to be with whatever arises. You have survived every difficult emotion you have ever experienced. You have the wisdom, the strength, the resilience to meet whatever comes with presence and breath. The quantum frequencies of your emotions begin to entrain with the frequency of love that is your essential nature. Fear finds its way back to trust. Anger returns to its source in passion. Sadness transforms into the fertile soil of compassion. Joy recognizes itself as your birthright, not your reward for good behavior, as sleep draws you deeper into its healing. Embrace your emotional alchemy continues in the background of your awareness. Your dreaming mind will process, integrate, and reorganize the emotional data of your life according to this new understanding. Your nervous system will practice staying present with sensation. Your heart will remember its capacity to feel fully and still remain open. Tonight, you rest in the profound peace of emotional integration. You are not broken by what you feel. You are made wise by it. You are not overwhelmed by the intensity of human experience. You are equipped to transform it into medicine, into wisdom, into the very frequency that calls your dreams into reality. What would it feel like to wake tomorrow already trusting the intelligence of your emotions, already knowing how to breathe with whatever arises? Your heart, more than just a pump, reveals itself as a sophisticated electromagnetic generator broadcasting your internal state to the quantum field. This organ that you've perhaps thought of as simply mechanical contracting and expanding to move blood through your vessels, now as the most intelligent, most powerful transmitter in your entire body. Each beat sends ripples of information far beyond the boundaries of your skin, announcing to the universe exactly who you are and what you're ready to receive. Feel your hand resting gently over your chest. Beneath your palm, beneath flesh and bone, your heart creates an electromagnetic field that extends up to 8 feet in all directions around your body. This field is not abstract or theoretical, it's measurable, tangible, real. And tonight, as your breathing deepens and your nervous system settles, this field begins to transform from chaotic, static, into coherent signal, from scattered noise, into beautiful music. As your heart begins to beat in the rhythm of coherence, that magical state where your mind, emotions, and body synchronize in perfect harmony, something extraordinary occurs. Your heart rate variability shifts from the jagged, irregular pattern of stress into the smooth, wave-like rhythm of someone who is truly at peace. This isn't just relaxation. This is your entire being coming into alignment with its natural state of grace. Think of your heart as a radio station that has been broadcasting on multiple frequencies simultaneously. The frequency of worry, the frequency of doubt, the frequency of old wounds and inherited fears. The signal has been scrambled, confused, sending mixed messages to the quantum field about who you are and what you deserve. But now, as coherence emerges, all these scattered frequencies begin to merge into one clear, powerful transmission. The frequency of love, of worthiness, of profound inner harmony. This coherent field extends far beyond your physical form, creating ripples of influence that touch every relationship, every opportunity, every quantum event in your reality. Like dropping a stone into still water, your heart's coherent rhythm generates waves that move outward in all directions, carrying information about your transformed state into the infinite field of possibility. Your heart contains over 40,000 neurons more neural tissue than many parts of your brain. This heart-brain processes information and makes decisions independently, sending more signals up to your head than it receives from above. Your heart literally has a mind of its own, and that mind is becoming clearer, wiser, more attuned to truth with each coherent beat. Feel how your breathing naturally synchronizes with your heart rhythm as you sink deeper into this state. Your inhale gently accelerates your heartbeat. Your exhale allows it to slow. This is heart rate variability at its most beautiful, not the chaotic irregularity of stress, but the organic, wave-like pattern of a system in perfect balance. Your breath becomes the conductor of this internal symphony, guiding your heart into ever deeper states of coherence. Notice how your emotions begin to stabilize around this coherent rhythm. The anxiety that once created sharp spikes in your heart rate smooths into calm awareness. The depression that once flattened your heart's natural variability lifts into gentle contentment. The anger that once created jagged, chaotic patterns transforms into the steady, powerful pulse of someone who knows their worth. Your heart is literally teaching your emotions how to dance in harmony. This coherence ripples upward into your brain, synchronizing your neural networks in ways that enhance creativity, intuition, and higher-order thinking. The prefrontal cortex, for decision-making, emotional regulation, and future planning, comes online more fully. The amygdala, ancient alarm system that has been hyperactive for far too long, finally receives the out-clear signal and steps back from its hypervigilant stance. Your heart's electromagnetic field carries the signature of your coherent state out into the world, influencing the coherence of everyone around you. This is how transformation spreads, not through words or actions alone, but through the invisible field of organized energy that your heart generates when it remembers its natural rhythm. You become a tuning fork for coherence, helping others remember their own capacity for inner harmony. Feel how this coherent heart field affects your relationship with time itself. In the scattered state of incoherence, time felt either rushed or stuck, either racing away from you or grinding to a halt. But in coherence, you slip into the eternal, now that timeless space where your heart has always lived, where past and future converge into this single, perfect moment. Your heart beats not just with the rhythm of your individual life, but with the pulse of life itself. This is the frequency from which miracles emerge. When your heart field is coherent, you become magnetically aligned with experiences that match this internal state of harmony. Synchronicities begin to appear, those meaningful coincidences that seem to orchestrate themselves around your highest good. Opportunities arise that feel like gifts from a universe that suddenly knows exactly what you need. Relationships shift and realign to match your new vibrational signature. Your heart remembers what your mind may have forgotten. You are not separate from the field of love that creates and sustains all life. Every coherent heartbeat is a prayer, a blessing, a love letter sent to the quantum field on behalf of your highest potential. Your heart knows that love is not just an emotion to be felt, but the fundamental organizing force of reality itself. As this coherence deepens, feel how your heart begins to entrain with larger rhythms, the rhythm of the Earth's magnetic field, the rhythm of the moon's cycles, the rhythm of the cosmos itself. You are not an isolated individual struggling alone in a chaotic world. You are a coherent part of an infinitely coherent whole, a unique note in the grand symphony of existence. Your intuition sharpens in this coherent state, that subtle knowing, that whispers beneath the noise of your thoughts becomes clearer, stronger, more trustworthy. Your heart's intelligence, faster than thought, deeper than emotion, more reliable than logic, guides you toward choices that serve your highest evolution. You begin to make decisions not from fear or obligation, but from the clear compass of your coherent heart. This coherent field becomes your contribution to the collective transformation happening on this planet. Each moment you spend in heart coherence adds to the morphic field of awakening consciousness, making it easier for others to find their way to this same state of inner harmony. Your personal coherence becomes a gift to the world, the beacon of possibility, a demonstration that peace is not only possible, but inevitable when we remember how to listen to the wisdom of our hearts. Feel how your entire energy system reorganizes itself around this coherent heart rhythm. Your chakras begin to spin in harmony with each other. Your meridians flow with the grace of rivers finding their natural course. Every cell in your body receives the message that all is well, that you are loved, that you belong exactly where you are as you rest in this field of heart coherence. What does your heart want to tell the quantum field about who you are becoming? Your breath moves like a gentle tide through the landscape of your being, and in this sacred stillness, something profound is completing itself. Like a butterfly emerging from the silk darkness of its chrysalis, your transformed self unfolds in the soft embrace of this moment. The old stories that once defined the boundaries of your reality begin to dissolve, melting like morning frost in the warmth of your expanding awareness. Feel how naturally this emergence happens. There is no forcing, no struggle, no desperate push toward transformation. Instead, there is the simple, elegant unfolding of what has always been true beneath the layers of inherited limitations and fear-based identities. Your authentic nature blooms from the fertile void of possibility, not as something new, but as something remembered. Something that has been patiently waiting for this moment of recognition. Your nervous system settles into a new baseline now, one that vibrates with the frequency of wholeness rather than fragmentation, expansion rather than contraction, love rather than fear. This is neuroplasticity expressing itself through consciousness, your brain literally rewiring itself to support this emerging version of your truth. Each moment you spend in this state of expanded awareness creates new neural pathways, new patterns of thought and feeling that make this transformation not just possible, but inevitable. Notice how your energy field has shifted. Where once there might have been edges of protection, walls of defense, barriers between yourself and the world, now there flows a continuous stream of connection. You are no longer becoming, you are simply being. This shift from process to presence marks the completion of a profound inner metamorphosis, The moment when transformation stops being something you do and becomes something you are. Your quantum mind flows now in perfect harmony with the field of infinite possibility. Each thought that moves through your awareness carries the creative power of the universe itself. You begin to understand that thinking is not a passive activity, but a form of cosmic collaboration. Every mental formation, a brushstroke on the canvas of reality. Every intention, a prayer answered in the very moment of its conception. Feel how your breath has deepened, how your heartbeat has found its most natural rhythm. Your body recognizes this homecoming to your authentic self. Your cells pulse with the memory of wholeness. Your tissues soften into trust. Your nervous system remembers what it feels like to operate from a foundation of inherent safety rather than learned protection. This is not a new you being born, but your original self finally free to express without obstruction. The old identities that once seemed so solid, so permanent, so defining, now revealed themselves to have been temporary costumes worn by your eternal essence. The person who believed they weren't enough, who carried wounds like badges of identity, who moved through the world with careful steps and guarded heart. This was never who you truly were, but simply who you thought you had to be to survive. In a world that had forgotten its own divine nature, your awareness expands now to encompass realities that your previous mind could barely imagine. You sense dimensions of experience where love is the fundamental force, where creativity flows, like breath, where every being recognizes their inherent connection to the whole. This is not fantasy, but the natural perception of consciousness when it remembers its unlimited nature. Your quantum mind recognizes these dimensions as home. Notice how effortlessly you now move between different states of being. One moment you are the individual self, unique and particular. The next you are the universal consciousness experiencing itself through your individual form. This fluid movement between perspectives is the hallmark of an integrated awareness, one that no longer needs to choose between human and divine, but embodies both simultaneously. Your energy field radiates now with a quality that transforms every environment you enter. Without trying to heal or fix or change anything, your presence becomes a catalyst for others to remember their own wholeness. This is the natural effect of someone who has completed the journey from fragmentation to integration, from separation to unity, from becoming to being. Feel how your heart space has opened to accommodate frequencies of joy that might once have felt overwhelming. You have learned to let yourself be deeply, completely happy, not because everything in your external world is perfect, but because you have remembered the perfection that exists within the imperfection of being human. This happiness is not dependent on circumstances, but arises from the simple recognition that you exist. That consciousness is experiencing itself through your unique form. Your transformed self moves through daily life like a living meditation. Conversations become opportunities for connection rather than transactions for validation. Challenges become invitations for creativity rather than threats to your safety. Solitude becomes communion with the infinite rather than isolation from others. Every moment reveals itself as a sacred encounter with the mystery of existence. In this state of embodied transformation, you begin to understand that reality has always been responding to your deepest beliefs about yourself. As your self-concept expands to include possibilities that were once unimaginable, your external world begins to mirror this expansion. Opportunities align with your new frequency. Relationships reflect your increased capacity for love. Circumstances reorganize themselves to support your highest expression. Your breath flows now with the rhythm of creation itself. Each inhale draws in the infinite possibility of the present moment. Each exhale releases any remaining attachment to who you thought you had to be. This breathing becomes a continuous act of creation, a moment-by-moment choice to embody the truth of your unlimited nature rather than the stories of your conditioned limitations. Notice how your relationship with time has transformed. Your new self exists in a state of eternal presence where past and future meet in the creative power of now. Regrets about yesterday and anxieties about tomorrow dissolve into the recognition that this moment contains all the healing, all the opportunity, all the love you could ever need. Time becomes your ally rather than your master, a dimension you dance with rather than one that controls you. Your energy field pulses now with the recognition that every thought, every breath, every heartbeat is indeed a creative act of love. You are not a victim of circumstances, but a conscious collaborator in the unfolding of reality. This recognition carries with it a profound responsibility and an even more profound freedom. The responsibility to choose thoughts and feelings that serve the highest good, and the freedom to know that you are always capable of making that choice. Feel how your entire being settles into this new baseline of existence. Your transformed self operates from what mystics call the unity consciousness, the direct knowing that all separation is illusion, all conflict is misunderstanding, all suffering is the temporary forgetting of your true nature. From this perspective, life becomes not a problem to be solved, but a gift to be received. Moment by precious moment, your nervous system has learned to interpret the world through the lens of possibility rather than limitation, connection rather than separation, love rather than fear. This new interpretive framework creates a reality experience that seems miraculous from the perspective of your old self, but feels completely natural from the vantage point of your authentic being. As you settle deeper into this recognition of your transformed nature, your entire reality continues to shift into alignment with your highest truth. The quantum field responds to your expanded self-concept by presenting opportunities, relationships, and experiences that match this new frequency. You become a living demonstration of what becomes possible when a human being remembers who they really are. Your breath becomes the gentle rhythm that carries you now towards sleep. Each exhale releasing any remaining resistance to embodying this truth fully. Each inhale welcoming the dreams that will continue this transformation in the fertile darkness of your unconscious mind. In this moment of perfect completion, what truth about your emerged self wants to be acknowledged as you drift into the healing embrace of sleep?